Ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time of day again. Today we have Rafael Chung of Between Two Forks, the homie. What a treat. We talk about knives, we talk about food and everything. It's just so good. Ladies and gentlemen, Rafael Chung.
So for everybody, for all the listeners and the watchers, can you just give a little rundown of a 3 minute summary of what led you to this point, creating content, what you do for a hobby, what you do for a job, and just give us a little tidbit about yourself. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely, man. First off, I appreciate you guys having me on here. It's really nice to talk to you guys, and a little bit of background on myself. I'm just a foodie. Always been very passionate in food, and I went the good old traditional college route. Went to school, and now I'm working basically as a desk jockey for a fuel distribution company, and working the professional world. Sometimes they don't really allow you too much creativity, and at that point I'm just like, I need a creative outlet. I decided to start creating content, start mixing my passion of food with content creation, and started with a food blog. And then, as you guys kind of know, no one reads nowadays, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
all right, let's go ahead and go to video route, and bit the bullet. And now I'm on YouTube doing content creation.
Dude, that's awesome, man. You know, it's so funny you say that because you're 100% right, man. The what people's interests are changing so much. I try to tell people like there was a significant difference like on Instagram when you see the change from dude that you post if you post a photo on Instagram right now, they are gonna shut it down. They ain't gonna let nobody see it, man, unless you are a huge
Oh man.
influencer. And I try to tell people, man, I'm like, listen, like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, TikTok is TikTok, man, and their algorithm sucks you in, dude. And it's funny
TikTok is
because,
great.
dude, TikTok is great, but like, I gotta be honest, it's like more of an entertainment app, so it's really hard for me as a food creator to kind of like take it seriously. But the organic growth is unreal, man.
Yeah,
And
their algorithm is great.
yeah, and it's funny because like now I'm gearing more towards like, okay, I gotta do videos that pop off. And so it's funny because I made a comedy skit video with my wife, with espresso, and it's crazy because I mean it's for
Oh,
sure
that was
it's
hilarious, man.
yeah. And it's like the thing is to be honest, like I enjoy doing videos like that, like sometimes because honestly, it's just for the algorithm. But the thing is the people that I get as far as the community, I'm just not a big fan of, like the new followers that you get. They're like, I don't know. It's just I want people that like are genuinely interested in cooking and like that will follow me and be part of my community. So I've been really doing a lot. I've really been doing a lot on trying to build that. But yeah, that's crazy. Just to circle it back, like you're so right, man. I'm so glad that you are. And listen, there's nothing wrong with being a disc jockey, man. Like, yo, I, but I try to tell young kids nowadays that want to be like a chef or they want to like they're interested in anything, man. I really like make sure like, hey, listen, college is college, but just understand like if you want to go to culinary school, man, the return on investment is not there, man. Like I made a full YouTube video on it, and like and I try to tell people like, listen, I'm not saying not to get your education, but like the fact that I'm 36 years old and I am still paying for my culinary school, man. You know what I'm saying? And I had to
It's
defer a loan,
steep, man.
dude. And like I didn't even go to a good. Okay, my culinary school was good, but it wasn't like CIA or Johnson and Wales. I couldn't even afford that, man. And so
It's
the
like private school prices.
bro, it's ridiculous. Think about this. Think about this. I am blown away by the fact. I don't know who said this, and I totally forgot who said it, but somebody said it. Somebody famous. They said it's crazy to me how you can be 18 years old and get $250,000
Yeah.
worth of student loan debt, but you can't
Yeah.
get a $10,000 business loan.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's
And yeah, and like the thing is even if you file for bankruptcy, your student loans never go away. They don't.
nope, nope.
And
And
It's
to
messed up.
to even like remotely get like that quote unquote forgiveness
yeah,
is nearly impossible. And then you're still on the hook for the taxes, right?
yeah,
So
exactly, man. It's crazy because like, in all honesty, and I don't want to get worked up about this, but like I really urge young culinarians, like, yo, make sure you make the right decision, because like the return, a lot of people think they can go to culinary school and then come out a sous chef or a chef, and it's
Yeah,
just
no,
not
you still got to work from the ground up, right?
yeah, you're coming out, you're going to be washing dishes or a prep cook. And so, Ralph, just to give you a little background, like Kirsten and I, or Casey and I we're like yin and yang. He went the corporate route, no culinary school, and I went the Michelin star route, and I got a dual associates in baking and culinary. But I really dislike when people ask me if I went to culinary school. They're like, "Oh, did you have culinary school training?" Because I don't like to say yes. I'd rather say like no. Because here, you know what I learned at culinary school, bro?
Nothing.
Like,
Yeah, you don't learn shit.
The baking and
Same here in
pastry-
college. Same here in college.
I literally went to culinary school to get the piece of paper. I literally went to get the piece of paper because when I was growing up as a chef, it was very important. But
I think the only thing I learned from college is learn how to party hard and still make it to your 7 a.m. lecture without looking bad, right?
yeah, exactly. That's funny.
Hey, Raph, quick question. Why
Yeah, go ahead.
between two forks? Or for everyone involved, his name is Raph. For everyone, I know we're calling you Between Two Forks on your screen right now. But why that name? Let me ask you that.
So Between Two Forks. So initially, when I first started my podcast, my food blog, the food blog was doing paleo recipes because at that time I was doing just nothing but paleo,
Okay.
and but I also didn't want to corner myself into just being, everyone putting paleo in their food blog name, and it just kind of corners themselves. And there's still kind of a limitation to what you can do with paleo recipes. So I didn't want to corner myself. I left it open. So it's just like one fork in, gluten-free paleo stuff, and then one fork in just everything else, so it's just kind of between two forks.
Got it. Okay. All right.
By the way, I love the hat, man.
Oh, thank you.
Love the hat, bro.
Not a lot of people know it. This is just an
what is it? I don't know it.
It's Dragon Ball Z.
What is it?
Only because so I grew up in the Philippines. I came over when I was 12. So literally half my life was over there, but I literally watched it as it was being made. So for me, that was a bit of nostalgia coming here in the States. But nowadays, people are just like, "Oh yeah, that's a cool hat, bro." I'm like, "Thanks, thank you."
Yeah,
Just
right.
go about it.
Like I kind of grew up with it too. Yeah,
That's dope, man.
it's like that kind of dates us, but you guys don't care about that, right?
They don't.
Yeah, I really like your YouTube setup, man. Did you have any classic training in videography, or do you just do the YouTube University like all of us?
A little bit of both. I went to an art high school, so that kind of set my mind into like that creative mind space, and took some photography class. So whatever I paid attention in school, just picked up a little bit, and then like you said, YouTube University and just testing everything out.
Facts, man.
YouTube
You know what's
is
so
nice.
funny, man? And I still struggle with this nowadays. Is like I know that like video quality is very important, but I always focus on the food first, and then I'm like trying to edit my mistakes. And I'll be honest, I outsource my editing, but
It's smart, man. That's so smart.
yeah. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes the videos, like they're not like what I want. But I think what a lot of people need to understand is like social media is kind of like, no, I should say content creation is kind of like it's quantity over quality, right? And the quality is subjective. But like most of my viral videos or most of my videos that perform well, like I've taken my opinion out of it. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is what I'm realizing is like, it's all about time and effort, and then posting that video. And then I've just recently started looking at my analytics, and let me tell you something.
Nice.
This is a rabbit hole in itself, man. But like, I didn't even take in consideration. So basically, I've been doing videos with Granda, this chef app, and I really love it.
Yep.
Like, dude, word on, like, seriously, they're my favorite partnership. I swear to God, I would make videos for them for free because it's a chef app. It's like, it's exactly what I'm doing. It's my niche. It is me. Like, I have zero interest in like any other sponsorships that I'm doing, but like this Granda app, I think is very helpful for the young culinarian. And, like, here we go, shout out. But like, I really like it because
That's all good.
dude, seriously, man. And I was a full-time subscriber before they reached out to me. And I just love seeing new chefs' techniques. I love having my pulse on the industry. And the thing is like,
It's a good way to inspire each other, right?
Yeah, and it's like so basically what they do is they pulled up the analytics of the videos that I've done with them, and they're like, okay, this performed well. This is where people are clicking off. They're like, okay, don't say our name, just cook regular, and they're like they pinpoint exactly where the video is performing.
That's awesome.
And then we adjust, and then it's crazy because like I re-edited a video, and then boom, 500,000 views on reels and climbing, right? And I'm like, see, I need to focus more on that. So like in all honesty,
the same thing.
Yeah, like in the last 3 years, like in the last year, since I've been posting on TikTok, I didn't look at my analytics once. And so what I'm realizing is, and the same thing with YouTube, man. They got YouTube Studio, and like I wasn't really looking at it, but now I'm paying attention to it because now
they have a lot of free knowledge on there.
Dude, you know what? They tell you how to be successful. They tell you straight away. They don't even waste time. Like I didn't, and I went down the rabbit hole. So anyway, it's funny because I have a test video today that I'm going to post. It's about bread pudding. So,
nice. I just made a bread pudding a little while ago too. So
yeah,
nice.
You know what? I messed up a brioche the other day. Like I was kind of sad, man. I knew it was too high, but like I baked it, and then it was really nice and tall, and then basically as it was cooling down, it just collapsed on itself. Like it doesn't look, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad, but there's a big indent in the side, so I couldn't use it for French toast or sandwiches at work. But I just bread pudding. It was perfect. And like what I like about making bread pudding the most is like, it's no fuss, like I remember being in a restaurant and we made bread pudding for a dessert, and we would press it, we would cut it in squares, and we would put the sauce on it. It was just like too fancy. But you know what, bread pudding I like?
It's a rustic recipe, man.
I like the one my grandma made back in the day, like where she tore the bread. I don't want no fancy ass. I mean, I cut it in cubes, but I don't want no fancy ass bread pudding. And it's funny because I made this video, and and it's under 40 seconds. So what I realized is people click off within a second. You have to have 1 second. I'm realizing, and I didn't know. Yeah, when you guys are creating videos, man, think about 1 second attention grab hook. Like
it's. I feel like TikTok is like damaging to the attention span, right? Don't you guys agree?
That's what happened, man.
Social media.
Yeah,
social media has killed it, man. Like. Yeah, like back then we would sit, I remember back in high school, we would sit on YouTube and we're just like, dude, this is the best ever. You get to see everything. Then nowadays it's just flip on TikTok. It's like, nope, that doesn't look fun. That doesn't look fun. And you literally have 1 to 2 seconds. I looked at my last 10 TikTok videos, the analytics, you can pull it up. You can literally pull it up on, if you go to TikTok.com, though, not on your cell phone, you can print out the analytics. It gives you a spreadsheet. And it's what I realize is my videos are way too long. You know what I'm saying? And people are clicking off after 15 seconds, 10, 15 seconds, clicking off.
Yeah, they want 15 seconds, which is nuts.
One of the ways to grab their attention that I've remembered from like presentation class from college is start off with a question. And it's like, that just instantly hooks someone. And and maybe that's something you guys can try to see if it works.
You know what's funny? I'm starting a new, and Casey, you'll like this shit. It's called Controversial Chef Talk.
Yeah.
And so basically, I'm starting the series. This series where I talk about shit I hate as a chef, or that I was taught as a chef that just doesn't make sense to me. And I'll break it here because I'm going to post it here in the next couple of days. But the first one is and let's talk about it though, because I'd love to hear your opinion, especially as a home cook, and Casey as a chef. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. But blanching and shocking never made sense to me. Correct. Now let me explain. Growing up as a chef, I was always taught the classic French way of you have, let's say, just asparagus or green beans, and then you boil them in a big pot of water with plenty of water and salt, and then you you submerge them in ice water to stop the cooking process and retain the green. And you know what? Like, I just did it because that's what I was told. But then the thing is as I started to grow and become a chef, and this is what changed my life, is when I came to California. And the vegetables that are here. It's just like, listen, I don't care what y'all say. Midwest,
I'm jealous, man.
Hey, East Coast, I don't care what you say. Listen, California has the best motherfucking vegetables and fruit
100%
in the United States.
100%.
And I hate to say it like that, but like, dude, that is like, listen, I hate California, but I also love it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I hate it.
Yeah. Especially for a chef.
Bro, I don't want to get into the politics and shit, but like, dude, California is the worst place to live. It's so high, dude. It's like, it's ridiculous.
It's so expensive out there, man.
Anyway, but then when I go to the farmer's market and I'm like touching this fruit and these vegetables that are just fucking alive. Yeah. And so I'm putting dishes on the menu. And then it's funny because like I tried these green beans at the let's just say green beans at the market, and they were just like, I mean, you could eat them raw. They were sweet, they were crunchy, they were amazing. Jeez. And then I get to the restaurant, I cook these green beans like I'm taught. And then by the time they get to the finished plate, I'm like, these just weren't the same. They're not as vibrant. They don't taste like a green bean. It just tastes like ice water. And
it just tastes like ice water.
Yeah, and it's like because when you take the green beans from the hot salted water and you plunge them in ice, you're pretty much rinsing all that salt out. Like you have a little bit on the inside, but that's it. So then I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to shock these, and then I just blanch them in the minimal amount of water as possible. So just enough water to to bring to a boil, and then I steam it, right? So basically, slam the green beans in, steam it, and then take them off and let them cool room temperature, right? And guess what? You yield a better product. That is just I'm gonna argue that to the day I die. And then it's funny because Sean Brock, he came to do a chef's dinner. I love
Sean Brock, man. I was just about to mention him.
You know what? And he says the same thing. He's like, yeah, I agree with that. And like we did, and he was doing this dish with cobia. And I saw one of his cooks, they blanched the vegetable. They blanched it, but they like minimal amount of water as possible. And then they lay it flat and let it come to room temperature. And then they save it for service. And I'm like, you know what? This I'm never blanching and shocking again, ever.
That's the way.
And Sean Brock is all about retaining that original flavor in all of his dishes. So
yes, he's a wonderful chef, man. He is. And it's crazy, man. I'm so glad he got over his, that he's sober now. When we did this chef dinner, man, it was fucking nuts how many drinks I gave him, man. Like I literally I'm not gonna lie, dude. Like we did the chef's dinner, and like he would ask for a whiskey, like a double whiskey, and I got so like the bartender was like looking at me like, hey chef, why do you keep ordering all these? I'm like, hey, just give me the bottle, and then I have the bottle in the kitchen, you know what I'm saying? Like
damn.
For chef in the chef office, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know. But he had a drinking issue, you know what I mean? And like us all, we all have drink. I don't even drink anymore. Yeah. But so I'd love to hear your thoughts on the blanching shocking, Casey.
So a constant battle right now, right? As I mentioned, my chef owner is old school. I'm talking he's almost 70, and he's in that same way. You gotta blanch, you gotta shock. I'm like, okay. And I'm in the same boat as you when it comes to blanching and shocking. The only time that I fully go blanching and shocking is with pasta, because it takes too long for service. I mean, we have to cook it almost 8 to 10 minutes just on pasta alone to be fully cooked, and then serve, and it has to be within minutes. However, if you blanch it and then you shock it, it can cook 30 to 40 seconds, right, on the blipping hot water. That's the only time that matters to me. But for him,
do you put the pasta? Sorry to cut you off. Do you put the pasta in ice water?
He does, which is sad.
Yeah.
Oh. I know. And I'm just like, then we just lost like the whole purpose of it, right? He's like, no, it's still fine. I'm like, how, again, constant battle, right? And then I teach him. I did this dish.
The Italian grandmas are all turning around in the grave. They're all
just turning.
Bro.
I did this dish in the summer, soba noodles, right? And I was teaching him how to do it, how I was accustomed to. He was like, you don't put it in cold water? I was like, no. We let this come to temp, and then we serve it just like that. And he kind of did one of these things, and then obviously he tasted the dish. He's like, oh wow, that's a different texture. Like, yeah, because you're blanching in cold water. He just never his brain just didn't go outside the box enough for him to realize. Yeah. So that's the main thing that I kind of want to get that out. But you have to try new things. You have to break the normal, see what we can do better, how we can improve upon. He's not there yet. I don't think ever still. So it's my job to kind of make it.
All right, so look, I'm gonna be honest. It's funny because I'm glad you said that, because I used to have to blanch and shock pasta too, and I thought it was so stupid. I'm like, why would you want to put pasta in ice water? And it's funny because I just did what I was told. And the thing is, and sorry to cut you off, but I might have to switch the battery out on my camera because it only runs for 30 minutes. Just so if you see me cut out, just keep the show going. I'm just gonna pop in another battery. The dummy battery's coming, but. That's crazy because I'm glad you said that. And it's, with pasta, I like to parboil, yes, and then just lay out on the sheet pan, toss in a little bit of oil so they don't stick, and then boom, you're good to go. Toss it around a little bit.
100%.
That's it. That is it.
100%.
Also, another controversial chef talk. truffle oil. I hate truffle oil.
I know we're talking about
can't
this.
stand it, bro. And
Raph,
here, let
do
me
you
explain.
use truffle oil?
Do I use truffle oil?
Do you use truffle oil?
No,
Good.
no,
I was
not
just about
really.
to say, we about to fight
I've
as
tried it, and I'm
Asians.
just like, this doesn't taste right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So here's the thing. This is, and I hate to be an ass, but like this truffle oil is nothing but an edible cologne. And the problem that I have with it is my whole career growing up, so many chefs overused it. They put it on everything, man. Oh my God, man. I remember,
Yeah.
you know what? This is the moment that strikes me. I worked at the Breakers Resort and we have these truffle fries. And I'm not gonna lie, they were delicious, minus the truffle oil. It was like a vinaigrette, like a mustard champagne vinaigrette with blue cheese, chives. But then we would put like 2 tablespoons of truffle oil on the fucking French fries,
Man.
Wow.
and then toss them and then serve them, and then
2
people loved
tablespoons.
them. I
2
swear to
Do you
God.
feel like,
Go
do you
ahead.
guys as chefs feel like when you guys write the menu that some chefs just use the word truffle just
Yeah.
so they can, at least maintain a price?
Yeah,
You-
it's a
you know
margin
what?
thing.
And I think, yeah, and honestly, I freaking hate it, man. And it's like, I remember like asking the chef, I'm like, chef, these fries are just delicious with the blue cheese and the vinaigrette. Like, I don't know why we put the truffle in there, but the thing is I didn't even know what real truffle tasted like at that time. But I knew this was just gross. It was too pungent. It was too it was just like overwhelming. And then plus that shit never leaves, man. Like it's crazy. But just to furthermore, like as I started developing my career and I started to have so many truffles, like, black winter, white truffle, burgundy truffle, summer truffle, like all over the place. I was choosing truffles. I learned how to choose proper truffles. And then I would also create dishes with truffles. But then when I go back to truffle oil, it was just so gross. They were so gross. There's not even real truffle in truffle oil. And
Correct.
the thing is it's too strong. Truffles are so delicate and they're so delicious. Like if you make a beautiful if you think about any truffle dish you make, it's super delicate. It's very delicate. It's light. It's like a fragrant mushroom. And I just see so many chefs and so many people douse things in truffle oil. And
you know what I think truffle oil tastes like? Truffle oil almost tastes like a rancid oil.
Oh,
like if you smell it, right?
Yeah. And then the problem that I have is like a lot of people that love truffle oil, they don't know what real truffle tastes like. They don't. And they just associate truffle oil with truffle. And so they're like, oh, this truffle doesn't smell that strong. And I'm like, no, man, you just haven't had real truffles. And it's like, I remember going toe to toe with this one chef where we would have a truffle risotto, and then basically the finishing touch, he would pour truffle oil on the top. Right. And like, and I'm like, chef, we need to stop this. We can't do this. I'm like, look, just go, let's go sit in the dining room and let's go eat it. I'm like, look, because the problem is it's not calculated. It's just, you're literally trusting the cook, not like, it just ruins the risotto. That's all you feel in your palate. All you can feel is that edible cologne, man. And it drives me crazy, man. It's like,
it takes over everything. It takes over everything.
And you know what? You know what's funny is Truff sent me a package. Truff sent me whatever the company. Listen, great company, and I felt bad, but this was the first mistake I made as a creator. They were like, "Hey, we'd love to send you some sauce, blah blah blah." And I don't know if there was so long ago. I don't remember, but I felt obligated to make a video. You know what I mean? And it's so funny because they reached back out and they were like, "Hey, we were just wondering. We just want to follow up." And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I hate it. I hate them all. I don't like them at all. Yep. And the thing is I'm like, I'm so sorry. And now don't get me wrong. That just because I don't like it doesn't mean you're not going to like it.
Correct.
Okay. So please, everybody, look, Sauce is a great company. I've heard they are a great sponsor, but for me, I don't want to sacrifice what I truly believe. I can't make a video and say that this is going to be good because, truffle oil in hot sauce is, it really is. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
So I think I told you guys this, that I review knives for a lot of the content on my channel, and honesty and integrity is so important.
Yeah,
and
100%.
It's like you need to find that fine line between like being rude and disrespectful to a company and just being dead honest. It's a hard line to walk.
Yeah, and listen, the thing is I am that was the first mistake I made as a creator, but I have to be honest to myself, man, and I just can't stand truffle oil, man. I just can't. It's just me. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, dude, I tasted the hot sauce. I'm like, dude, listen, hot sauce to me is cheap. Sorry, it's cheap. It's like, but it's good. It's delicious. Like when I worked at Saison, we fermented our own hot sauce from farmers market vegetables, right? We bottled it up, we sold it. But the thing is hot sauce for me is a condiment that is $1.50. It is not $20 fucking dollars.
100%.
You know, it's crazy you say that because I don't know if you guys have heard of the hot sauce company Fuego that does the hot sauce boxes.
Yeah.
And they curate, you know, a bunch of different hot sauces, and some of their like single, like small boutique bottles are so expensive because it's just small batch. And I'm used to, you know, the Louisiana hot sauce for like $1.50 for like a giant bottle, you know?
Yeah. And you know what, man?
Is there, but it's just the price difference is huge.
Yeah, but it's like, think about what you use hot sauce for as a dish. So if you're having a dish and the hot sauce is more expensive than the fucking dish, dog, come on.
We're going to have issues.
Like, So it's funny because I had this same argument with the restaurant I used to work at. I'm like, listen, chef, we cannot sell the hot sauce for $20. We just can't. I'm like, $7.99 to $9 I think is reasonable. Our cost is XYZ. Yes, we're not making, you know, we were at like 30% food cost, which we could do more on hot sauce, but like it was the bottle cost more. And it's funny because boom, once we put it at that price point, sales up. And I'm like, listen, it has to be under $10, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that Sauce isn't a good company and that or Truffle, whatever, Truff, you know, they're a good company. They treat their sponsees very well. I'm not going to sit here and bash about them as a company. Their marketing is out of control. Their marketing is so good, man. And the only beef I have with them is that they don't tag Philip in the videos. You see how Philip does
the videos?
They don't tag him. I was like, yo, you need to put that in
100%.
your contract next time, dog. You need to put that in the contract.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I don't know. Like, I guess in terms of like we use truffles, not truffle. We use truffle oil in the restaurant, and we use it in a vinaigrette. But I'm just like, every time I do use it, chef is like, "Oh, it's about 3 tablespoons." I'm like, "Blip, blip, blip." Three drops. Cool, awesome. I don't want to use it.
I used to mix it with canola oil, man. I would take a bottle, pour out half, and I would mix it with canola oil because it was just ridiculous.
It's just so intense. I'm just like, ugh.
It was just ridiculous because like the problem is
just don't do it in front of them.
It will ruin a dish, man. It will ruin a dish. But anyway, we'll get out of the truffle oil sand. I think I wanted to talk to you about knives because this is something that I am. I want to talk to you about knives because like I think this is a really good topic, and I just want to give you kind of my 1 minute summary of my point of view. So basically, when I started as a cook, I was so into knives, man. Like I would, when I was cooking, bro, listen, let me tell you something, man. I got this knife tattoo when I was deep into it, man. I used to geek out. I would like do my knives on my days off. I would spend hours polishing, bro. Okay, hours. Like I'm sitting there smoking a Newport, on the whetstone, and I took so much pride in execution in my knife. I was a knife geek. And I remember like one thing I asked for Christmas for my girlfriend was this Michelle Draw Chun knife. And it was crazy. But, obviously over time, as you become a chef, you step away from the knife, you're more delegating. And then the thing is it just becomes a tool. Right. And, I pretty much grew out of like being a knife geek. And now like I use knives just to get my job done. And I just keep them tight. I keep them pristine. But at the same time, it's like I love the fact of, when I used to be really into knives, there's this community of people that are also just knee deep into knives.
About knives,
especially Japanese knives. And it's funny because
that's a whole rabbit hole, man.
It is, man. It is like, dog, if you type in knife sharpening on YouTube, oh my goodness, you're like. But I wanted to talk to you about like what types of knives do you like to use? What do you suggest for a new person or for a home cook, for a new like a budget friendly knife? I made videos on a few only because it's like my most requested thing. Like people ask me like all the time, how do you sharpen your knife? How do you do this? But I always like stress that like, hey, I'm not a knife maker and I'm not a knife geek anymore. And I'm not, but I am a chef and I do keep my knife sharp. I choose to use a whetstone, but I'm not opposed to like using anything. The only thing that I will say is controversial, and I'd love to get your point of view on this. And I'm going to say it because we're going to jump right in. I don't like to use a honing steel. Now, let me explain. I think when I was growing up as a chef, a a lot of cooks and a lot of people, a lot of chefs, they use the honing steel to try to sharpen their knife. And this is a common practice. People are like just hitting it. And it used to make me so furious because I'm like, hey, your knife is dull. You need to sharpen it, And it's like, and then so when I became a chef, when I was running a kitchen, I said, and I got rid of all the honing steels and I just kept the stones and water in the butcher shop. And I'm like, I don't want to see any honing steels. You guys need to, use a polishing stone, use a strop and a strop block. And I will argue that I think that is the best way to keep your knife tip top.
Yep. I agree with you.
Yeah. And a lot of people disagree. And they're like, well, if you use the honing right, then, I'm like, yeah, I'm with you. But guess what? 90% of people do not use the honing steel correctly.
Well, there's kind of a little bit of a science behind, like honing steels, like depending on the material and depending on, the Rockwell hardness and everything of your knives, anything from my belief, like anything above like a 60 Rockwell hardness, you shouldn't use honing steel because it just damages the edge. And you should probably go for like a strop. But anything, a little bit softer, eventually your edge just kind of bends a little bit and the honing steel really just straightens the edge back out. But eventually that edge is going to wear down and you just have to sharpen it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but you can agree. I see a lot of people just use the honing steel, just like whacking it for no reason. No, like, and I'm not going to sit here and lie. I used to use the diamond honing steel way back in the day.
Oh,
and
I'll fuck up your knives.
Like, they're rough on knives, man. They're so rough on knives.
Yeah. Little did I know. I didn't know, man, but I was using the diamond honing rod on my Japanese knife. And what I realized is like, yes, it would give me a temporary sharp edge. But what I realized is I was just ripping metal off that knife. Ripping it, dude. And I didn't know because I didn't freaking know.
It hurts, man.
I didn't know.
When you find out, it hurts.
Yeah. Until I was, I remember, I don't know who it was. I don't remember, but they were just like, hey, like you should not use this for your knife. You're just fucking it up. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? The knife's sharp, man. Like I can slice a tomato. And they're like, I know, but there's microscopic tears in this metal. And he's like, you might not understand this, but he's like, this is what I suggest. And I'm like, okay. Because in all honesty, I didn't know how to sharpen a knife properly until I took the time and energy to learn how to use a whetstone properly. I went down the rabbit hole of just learning how to use it, videos. And honestly, it was Corinne.com that they came and they gave, this was a long time ago. They came and they were selling knives and they gave us a knife sharpening demo. And I asked this guy 30,000 questions and he's like, yeah. And he's like, listen, this is what you want to do. And I'm like, okay, great. And I went and I got the little.
Is it Vincent with the glasses?
You know what? I don't recall his name. This was a long time ago, but it might. I don't know his name. But
in New York City, right? Corin?
He's still
the same guy.
Yeah, probably. But he just I remember just picking his brain.
He's got a wealth of knowledge.
Bruh. Yeah, it was crazy. And then the thing is what it takes time and repetition. And what I did was I went to the store and I got a Kiwi knife. The shitty ass $6 Kiwi knife, man. It's like it's like cutting with a tin can. And
but you know what? That thing is so thin, it just blows through stuff, man. Like it really does.
Yeah, and you know what? If somebody fucked it up, you're not upset about it. And I practiced sharpening. I practiced sharpening on that thing, and then I kind of understood the angle, but anyway, it takes practice. It takes repetition, and then I finally felt comfortable as a chef teaching people how to sharpen, right? Because it's so subjective. Right. It really is. It's like everybody keeps their knife sharp. And like all I care as a chef is make sure your shit is sharp. Like I don't want to see you using a dull knife. And I remember getting to a point where like my sous chefs were just working so much. Like they would send their knives to J Knife Imports, like in an Uber to get sharpened. And this was the solution. And I'm like, I wouldn't let anybody else touch my knives except for him. But like at the same time, the moral of the story is just keep the knife sharp. But I wanted to get your point of view because I'm sure you use a whetstone, right? You use a whetstone.
Yeah.
What do you use, Casey?
I'm a whetstone guy, but like, hold on, before Raph, I know this might be a little cringe for you, but give me 1 sec. I pulled up your video here. I know you're rocking a 240 mil Guto here. Is this your main? Okay. So we just played a video real quick. Look at that beauty.
Yeah, boy.
Look at that. It's so
nice. I'm gonna
nice.
need you guys to critique that technique, man.
Oh, that's okay. Beautiful little juliennes. How does that knife perform? But like, before we do answer the question, I know you said whetstone. Have you tried the oil stones by any chance?
I think I have one oil stone downstairs, but I have never used it. I've never used an oil stone before.
Got it. So how does that knife perform? The one that we just watched. Because I think you have that knife set.
Is hitting above his weight class. That's actually one of the Indonesian makers that I really support. Actually, not trying to try to sell my own shit here, but yeah, I stock a couple of their knives and sell them. So that's kind of how much I believe in their work, because for the price you pay for those knives, it's just like, it's the grind of the knives are just hitting way above its weight class. Edge retention wise is probably, of course, not as good as like your expensive Japanese knives, but
yeah, is it stainless?
It's a good enough trade-off for the price, that you can really put a really sick edge on that thing. So
that's a good point. So for that 240, what does it run you?
That one I'm selling, I think, for like $100.
Oh
damn!
Come on, that's a no-brainer. Then I agree with you 100%. So what do you suggest for the new, let's say, home cook or new chef? What do you suggest as far as a knife?
For the new chef or just like a home cook, again, I guess trying to push my own shit here too, right? I actually just dropped a knife shopping guide on my YouTube channel, so I go through probably a lot more detail there. But honestly, if it just kind of depends on your budget, right?
I agree.
I know everyone has a different budget. If you have like $60, I stand behind the Misa knives. They are really, really good knives for the price. But if you got a little bit more to splurge, then you can grab one of my knives.
So you make a great.
Giros are great, for the price too.
You make a great point, and I'll be honest. It's so funny when people ask me what type of knife should I get. And I'm just like, it's so subjective, man. Like,
yeah,
it is.
Just like, so I'll tell you what I use. So basically, at home I use the Miyabi, and then at work I use Mizunos. I love Mizunos because like they're readily available. They're workhorse knives. The UX10, I have a carbon, and I've just, for some reason, I've grown to love them. And I know they're not a super expensive knife. And I know they're not a really cheap knife, but guess what? If somebody steals one, I'm not going to be sad. Or if if it falls on the floor, like by accident, I'm not going to like lose my shit. Like back in the day, if one of my Western style Japanese knives fucking hit the floor, or one of my traditional Japanese knives hit the floor, I'd be losing my mind, son. and it's I think it's really important to take in consideration. Like if you're new, this is what I tell people. I tell people all the time, like, hey, do yourself a favor, go to Sur La Table, go to a knife shop, and just put a knife in your hand, right?
Yeah,
Go from there, because the thing is like you have to pick what type of knife you want, and it's like there is so many out there. But I will tell you one thing: these little fucking $20 Amazon, in the wood knives with the freaking dude, there's so many companies that reach out. Oh, can you check out my product? I'm like, I already know it's trash. Like I can just look at it.
I actually have a funny story for you in regards to that. Let's just not drop their name, but long story short, they sent me a knife. They weren't happy with the review. They're just like, hey, we can't work with you if you don't pull the review. I'm just like, hey, I guess we can't work together anymore, because I'm not going to pull the review, because it's my viewers and gaining my viewers' trust is way higher on the priority list than
You know what's crazy? It's funny you say that, because I'll say the brand. Kulina sent me knives. Kulina, whatever. And
say the brand.
No. Listen, I ain't complete the pitch, man. I didn't even respond to the fucking email. But I will. I'm not gonna lie. I used the knife to. I forgot what knife they sent me, but I used the knife to take down a wild boar, like where the ribs are, because I was just hacking away at it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna lie, I did a really good job, but dog, it's not even pounded. Like the craftsmanship of that knife is just trash, dog. It's just trash. The handle was uneven. The paint, it looks like it was painted on, not hammered. The pattern, It's painted
Yeah.
on. Painted. Like,
Yeah.
what? What? I'm like, is this black paint that's not even hammered? I'm
And
like,
that's
okay.
and they're expensive, man. They're not cheap.
Yeah, and you know what? And I love, and I will be honest and say, like, that would be my downfall. If I use that knife in a video and say, "Hey, go get this knife, man," you might have just take my chef title, man. Like,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Take
like
my
that
title.
knife, but this is the problem. Some people, and I'll be honest, I'll play devil's avocado here. Some people don't need a workhorse knife, and they just want a knife to look cool, and they might use it once or twice. And this knife is just going to be for show on a cutting board, right? Like, all right, I totally get it. I totally get
It's
it. But
content creation, man. It's all about the flashy stuff.
yeah, and so I'm like, okay, I totally get it. Like, I get it. But in all honesty, if you want a knife to last the distance, you want to invest in a really good knife, and that knife is trash. It's like,
I mean, you can't use that in the line, man. I mean, it's so heavy. I mean, think about the fatigue it's going to cause on your hands if you're going through like 100 pounds of onion.
If any of that, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It started oxidizing very quick, but it wasn't like carbon steel oxidization. It was like tin oxidization. You know what I'm talking
gross.
about?
Yeah.
And anyway, I don't use the knife. I just used it once or twice, but like I knew it right from because what they sent me was that, this is carbon steel, this is blah 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 blah, and I'm just like, yeah, all right, sounds good, man, send it to me. And then I get the knife and I'm like, yeah, there's no fucking way ever I would use
I actually mentioned that in my video, saying how a lot of companies hide behind these marketing terms. Carbon steel, it's high carbon steel, it's high carbon steel. What the fuck does that mean?
Exactly.
It tells me nothing. It tells me nothing at all, because most good companies that use high quality steel, they cannot wait to tell you what kind of steel it is. They're just like, oh yeah, ask away.
That's why I will be honest, and I know Miyabi is kind of generic, but I got to be honest, man. I went to
They're a great knife, man.
Dude,
They are nice.
I'm not even,
I wish I have them. I don't.
Listen. I bought the set of classic Miyabi way back in the day from Bed Bath & Beyond, 20% off. I just needed a set of house knives, and I was like, I'm just get these trashy knives because it's fine. It was like $350 for the full set, right? Like, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it. Like, I'm gonna get these. That way, if something happens, I'm not gonna be sad if my wife decides to put it in the dishwasher, whatever. And I still have them, dude. We're talking 8 years later. I still have them. They're still crispy sharp.
They're quality, bro.
Yes, man. And like, my wife knows not to put it in the dishwasher, but I was actually blown away at how the craftsmanship is on that knife. And I use them at home. And then I also have the Birchwoods, which are my absolute favorite. I love the Birchwood, man. And I love how light
some good looking knives.
Yeah. I don't.
What do you use, Casey?
So, I mean, I've had my knives for 11 years now. All of them, all 42. I think I'm 42, 43.
Nice.
My main, I have 2 sets. Brandon has 3 sets, so we're just on about it. But like, my main thing is a cleaver. I'm always comfortable. It's not necessarily heavy, but it's heavier than your standard Western knife, right? But I can chop, I can smack, I can literally do everything with that. And then I can scoop and put stuff out. So I have 2 cleavers that I work with, but my longest knife, which is 11 years old, is my Tojiro 240 mil Kiritsuke. So it's just like a literally high carbon, and the edge, if I need to slice for service, like steak or whatever the fuck it is, that knife comes out. Literally, just here we go, boom boom, nice and long. So it looks like a fucking katana to begin with, but that's what I use for the most part on all my locations. I see your knives in the back of you. What is your main knife? Let me ask you that.
Honestly, my main knife, because I review so many knives, I kind of have to rotate them around, just because I do like a 6 months follow up on them. So I kind of rotate them, and so I have 240s, two 240s. I have a Kiritsuke and a Bunka that I have on there right now. I'd say out of all of the knives, the Bunka is probably one of my favorites.
Oh yeah,
it's short, it's compact, but when I'm doing bigger cuts, of course, you guys probably prefer the bigger knives too, like the 240s. I do too, but that Bunka is just super thin, and it just blows through the food, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
that's dope.
Different purposes for different stuff, right? Like if I were when I used to debone the small tunas, we're talking like 100 pounds. That's small. Medium tunas are like 200-300 pounds. But like when you used to debone them, I use debas, and they're really heavy set. And like what people don't understand about Japanese knives, some of them you don't cut this way with the debas with that angle. It's a push motion. So when I still remember one of my cooks, he was like, "Why are you pushing?" I'm like, "Let me show you an actual why it's that motion when you're cutting fish specifically." And he was like, "Oh wow, I'd never thought of it. I think everybody just want to kind of slice in one motion like that. Different purpose, you know." So
Yeah, I remember
stuff.
Brandon doing a deba on the coconut.
Oh
I
yeah.
remember that video. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Some people, it's so funny because like that my Deba, it's a Masimoto, and it's really nice, man. It's dude, I love
That's
that
sweet,
knife.
man.
Yeah, and it's funny because that knife is so well built, man. It's so heavy,
Yeah, man.
and I would break down. But here's the thing. This is the problem. Like I remember getting that for breaking down fish, and the thing is I've just got so accustomed to using my slicer for fish, not a fillet knife, not a boning knife, a slicer, like a 10-inch motherfucking meat slicer. Like and it's funny because like working at Seisan, I was kind of like forced to use the Deba. And I'll tell you what, man, break it down, Kampachi or Hamachi with the Deba is really nice, but I was just so much more comfortable with using a slicer, which is crazy.
Depends on your hand.
A lot of
how you feel too.
Yeah.
So it all just depends on.
That's what I'm saying. I like the stiff blade. I don't like the super flexible boning knife blade. I just thought I had more control and more leverage with the slicing knife, and so I used the slicer, the Mizuno Carbon. It's my go-to.
Lots
Nice.
of name drops here. People are like, "What? Mizo?
Yeah,
What?
but-
What? Miyabi?
But
What?"
yeah, to play devil's avocado, usually I would use a machete with a coconut, but I don't have a machete here, man. And not a lot of people
Yeah.
do, but I just say, hey, yo, use a heavy bottom knife. Make sure you use the heel of the knife. Like, trust me, that devil was not even phased, son. And plus,
You can use the Kulina for it, man.
yeah, right. I should have, man. But I didn't want to give them a free. Well, listen, no disrespect to their company and what they're doing, but those knives are stamped and they're not they're just mass produced. And I hope people will realize that. And
people get ripped off by them, man. I hate that. I hate to have to say it because that's that's actually the company that I was talking about earlier.
Oh, really?
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't blame it. Well, they sent out a whole bunch of knives, a whole bunch of creative.
By the way, Raph, I don't. If you don't want this, learn. I can edit this out just in case. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what other knife company?
It's out there on my channel anyway, so it's no secret.
You know what other knife company reached out to me that wanted me to do some sponsor posts was Kuma. I haven't had a chance to try their knives, but
Kuma?
Have you heard of Kuma
Kuma?
knives?
Yeah, the one with the
Never
bear,
heard.
right? I think they
think
have a
so.
bear on their sign. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard some people. I've never had a chance to try him. So
Yeah. I don't even waste time with knife companies, man, because unfortunately it's just like, I don't know, man. It's so subjective for me. Like it's just not my cup of tea. What I will say is that if I were to test a knife, the things that I look for is that it's well built. It's going to be there for the longevity, right? Like I'm not going to lie, Japan just does it so well, right? Like
they do.
I mean, come on, man. Their craftsmanship is just like everybody is like floating around here, and then like Japan is just. I mean, I have a chef knife that is made that has like it was just. I don't know who the knife maker is, but I just remember him explaining this story to me and how it's generational, and how he was explaining to me and like it. I was so sold on this knife, and I mean, I was just like, "Yo, take my money, man! Like, take it."
Take my money.
And to add to that, I also want to kind of shed and give the spotlight to a lot of the American craftsmen too, like the actual bladesmiths. I mean, we have some great talent here in the States too. So I don't want people to always think you have to go Japanese route for the best knives, because if you dive a little, that's another rabbit hole, man. Like
that's another one we can go into.
So what American bladesmiths do you like? And then I'll see if I know any of them or know of them, because I agree with you 100%. There's one bladesmith that I was going to order a knife from that I wanted to check out, and that was a half face blades.
I don't think I've heard of those guys before.
Okay, I think they come out of San Diego. I think it's San Diego. I'm not sure. I feel bad now. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell me who you like.
One of the guys that I really like is Jeff Vader.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have heard of him before.
Jeff Vader?
Knives. Yeah, Fader. Feder. Jeff spelled Geoff. Great guy. What I really like about his knives are his handles. His handles are amazing. I mean, he's an artist.
Can you pull it up, Casey?
Is this it? Fader Knives?
Yeah.
We're looking at the same one?
Oh, okay.
Great guy. Runs a knife podcast too. So he has two podcasts going. So maybe you guys can team up, man, and talk more.
Where is he located?
I think he is in New York or.
Wow.
He's closer to you, Casey.
Yeah, beautiful.
Ooh.
1084 carbon. That's what's up. That's some high quality shit right there. Tell me right now. It's a little too short.
I just kind of want to give the spotlight to some American bladesmiths too. I don't want people.
Do you have his knife? Have you tried it? His knife?
Not yet, man. Not yet.
Oh,
it's
okay.
It's still on my bucket list. I'm still saving for it.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. He won't do a sponsor post with you? He won't do a sponsorship with you?
I never asked, but I also don't want to, because I feel like sometimes if you respect the craftsman, you don't want to go that route and be like, hey.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And even when some of the craftsmen that I do reach out to, I still try to give them something for it. If it's not translating to sales or anything like that,
yeah,
I would be more than happy to pay them back for it. For if they're like, hey, your video didn't get any views or whatever, you know what? You came out of pocket for your material. I am more than happy to pay for your work. Yeah,
you know what? That's what I try to tell people. That's what I really try to tell sponsorship now is like there's so many ads on TikTok that TikTok is not pushing it unless it's in the creator marketplace. And I would never do a video for quote unquote views anymore, But that's dope, man. I want to check out his knives, man. I think there's a lot of good knife makers as well. There's one in Hawaii too. I forgot what his name is, but I was looking at his knives. Dope. But that's the thing. It's just I just can't justify it, bro. I got so many knives.
Yeah, we have too many. Bro, I have 42, 43 today. I just bought another one. I bought I got an Opinel the other day.
I'm at like 60 plus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Cause it just depends on what I need to do.
So I have a full set of Mizunos in Los Angeles for work. And then I have a full set, the same exact set here in the Bay Area for work. And then at my house, I have 2.5 sets of Mayabis. And then I'm not even including the knives that I've just collected over the years, the Shun, the Michel Bras, the freaking Japanese knives, the fucking special Japanese cutting knives. Because once I figured out that you need a knife for each task in the kitchen, dude,
you're screwed.
God damn it, dude.
Unless you're a Chinese chef, right? Then you have one Chinese
cleaver.
chef knife to
one cleaver that rules it all. Right here. I don't know why I keep buying knives. I just use the cleaver anyway.
Yeah, but you make a good point, man. I never really got into the Chinese cleaver, but I always wanted to, and it was just too clunky to carry around in the kitchen, that was the problem. Like in my knife, putting it in my knife case. I remember having it in my knife case. I was like, yeah, fuck that. Like I don't want to carry this bitch around.
It depends. Once you get used to it, though, I'll tell you you'll love it. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm gonna gift you one, and you're gonna be like, yes, this is it.
Yeah, that's funny.
I kind of float in between them. I use the Chinese chef knife sometimes, but a lot of times I still default back to the 240 because it's just the extra length. Sometimes just makes things so much easier, Yeah,
it's a big boy knife. So let me ask you something, Ralph. Where do you see your content creation going in the next 5 years? What do you think? What's your goal?
To be honest with you, 2022, like at least this year, I'm trying to get back into food. It's still my passion. I think, on our call, we kind of talked about how we get into kind of a creative rut and you get bored with the content that you're creating. And to be honest, as much as I love knives, I'm getting bored with it.
Yeah.
And I want to dive back into creating food. Yeah, so probably creating more food content. I'm not going to completely forego, reviewing knives and doing that portion, because there's a huge audience on my channel that I just can't forget about. They help me build up the channel. So so that they mean a lot to me. As you guys know, like your audience is your support. So,
I know I am so close to monetizing on YouTube. It's ridiculous. So I can't wait to get to
almost
that,
there, bro.
Get over that. Yeah, I know, man.
You're
I'll get
almost
there,
there.
but I'm just like, I've just
Almost
been
there.
slowly chipping away at the block. And yeah, I just, man, I'm so close. Because I think I'm gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I prefer doing YouTube much better than any other thing, because I don't have to cut so many things out, right? Like I feel like TikTok and IG is just a highlight reel, like and you'll see like most of my videos are just short and choppy. But I wanted to go against the grain and start posting 3-minute videos, just to be like, yo, fuck it. I don't want to post a 15, 30-second video. I want to post a 3-minute video. And I'm going to do that because I think the controversial ones will work better.
I think so.
100%.
Yeah.
Tell you right now, they work.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more.
100% work.
I got you. Okay, I'm gonna post it. I mean, it's literally just a turn and shoot and post. And I really like doing that, because sometimes I'll just think of an idea and just, and I'll just go with it. But I know we got to wrap it up here soon, Casey, but I wanted to ask one more question. And the thing is so basically with food creation, right? What I think is really good, and what I realize is, like, you just have to post it. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't worry about what anybody's going to say to you or think in the comment section, because I feel like a lot of people get into the space of like, well, what if I don't do this right? What if I don't do this right? And then they just don't fucking do it, right? They just don't. They just stop. And what I recommend is just post it. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I had one. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, and I was gonna say I had one creator, like, before he posted anything, he would just ask me like, hey, can you just review this, man? Can you just check and make sure I'm not doing anything wrong? I'm like, dude, you're in your house. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can do, seriously. Like, there's no rules when you're cooking at your own home for your own family. And
as long as you're keeping it safe, I guess, right?
Yeah, and it's like I just urge to post it, and then over time you'll build more confidence, and you'll just you'll crush it. Like, but everything is so subjective.
I appreciate that advice, man.
Yeah, like, everything is so subjective, and trust me when I tell you, like, I see a lot of home cooks doing stuff that like professional chefs wouldn't do, but like, what people don't realize is that that's their fucking house. You ain't gonna tell me how to cook in my goddamn house. Like, no. Like, so just keep that in mind. Like, when you're creating content, the only gray area and the only like issue that I see is like if you're trying to teach somebody, and it's a bad technique. Like, dude, if you want to show how to make like, I would just keep it like that. Like, if you're gonna make macaroni and cheese, that's what you're inspired to make, and you want to make it this way, there's nothing wrong with that. Just post it. And of course, everybody's gonna tell you how their grandma made mac and cheese and how it's greasy and this, that. Who cares, bro? If you look at my comments,
I think the problem with the space is that so many people are self-proclaimed experts, right?
Yeah.
And
we like to call comment section chefs.
And like when I entered, especially in the knife space, I just know there's just a wealth of knowledge out there. I know there are so many guys out there that knows so much more than I do, and I just default to a lot of people like, hey, you know what? If I'm saying something wrong, let's talk about it down in the comments, and that way it keeps your audience engaged. And I never approach anything like I'm the expert, because I think that's, if you approach anything like you're an expert, you kind of leave no room to learn, and that's not a good space to be in.
Hey, I'm the same way. I'm the same way, man. And I try to tell people the same thing. Like, I'm not perfect, man. I make mistakes like all the time, but I get over them quickly. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you go take a shit, you wipe your ass, you don't bring the toilet paper with you. No,
exactly. That's a great analogy.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like, dude, I literally, like, the video I'm about to post today, you guys will see it. It's like, you'll see the brioche. It's a quick scene, but it's like, it's concaved on one side. That was a mistake. That was my mistake. I made the mistake. I'm not perfect, and I'll admit it. Same thing. Like, there's just, I constantly make mistakes, but the thing is I don't cry about them, and I don't let anybody,
you have to learn from it, right? You just have to learn from it.
Exactly, but it's like for chefs, we know this. Like if we fuck up, okay, boom, you either remake it or you go. That's why there's this one video, and then I'll leave with this. I'm gonna do edit, and I feel bad because I don't want to crush this guy's soul, and I don't want people to come after him. But man, this motherfucker, and you'll see what video I put. He posted a freaking video of
Salty's gonna have to join in on it, man.
Yeah,
I will be there.
You know what? Pull it up.
Let's
Let's make this the ending. Hey, pull it up.
One?
Hey, Chef Salty, go to Problem Solved TikTok.
Here we go, man.
Problem Solved TikTok.
Yeah, Problem Solved.
Okay.
And I want you to pull this video, and then I want to talk about it, and then we'll end with this.
Okay. Hold on.
Hoorah. Because I'm gonna duet this video because it's really bothering me.
Problem solved. Just problem solved. His page.
Problem Solved. Yeah, and you'll see he's verified.
Okay, which one?
Big dude. Pull up the salty potato. Okay, the one in the middle, the potato where he's holding the potato. Let's watch this video and then I'll give you my feedback. Yeah, go ahead, play it. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm just gonna say it and see, this is the problem because I don't want to sound negative and I don't want to sound aggressive or gatekeeping. What the fuck is he doing? What
I don't know.
Fuck in the like, yo, excuse my language, but like this, here's the thing. This is what I despise. Like, do not tell people to do this shit, because me as a chef, when I hire a cook and they make something too salty, right? They're gonna stick a fucking potato in there. Casey, if somebody did that in the goddamn restaurant, you come on. Now
that's old school grandma knowledge, man.
Now,
I think that's where he's coming from.
I know, but what I'm saying is this is where somebody like me is gonna be kind of like, okay, you can do whatever you want in your own house. That's great. But the problem is that he has an influence on the younger generation of cooks.
Yeah. And
I'm telling you right now, here's my issue, and this is why I don't want to duet it. I'm just because. All right, first thing.
You got to put the kid gloves on, man. You got to put the kid gloves on.
First thing, it is not rocket science. That soup is already cooked. If you put that big ass fucking potato in there, it's gonna take 30 to 40 minutes to cook properly.
100%.
So guess what happens to the other ingredients in there? What happens?
Dead.
It is mush. Dead. You might as well throw the whole thing in the garbage, right? Next, that is not how you fix a salty soup. Okay?
Yeah.
No, you don't drop a fucking potato in there. Okay? Get the hell out of here. The problem that I have is he has fully convinced, like, this is just a video. Like that potato, even when he pulled it up, it was raw.
Yeah.
Now, I will argue that, yes.
Fully cooked, right?
Yeah, bro, that potato, when he pulled it out, it wasn't fully cooked, right? It was not. It was not. It would have fell apart. Anyway, that's beside the point. I don't like when people are teaching techniques like this, that when it will somebody will lose their job if they put a potato in the goddamn soup like that.
Yeah.
Now you have two options. Once that salt is absorbed into the ingredients, it's kind of hard to go back, right? So what I like to train is, remember, you can always add, you cannot take out, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I like to train that. 2, there is a way you can fix this, but it's not going to be ideal if you're serving it to customers, okay? So usually if it's for family meal, if you're at your house and you're serving it for dinner, there is one way you can fix this the proper way, and that is prep the whole soup out again with no salt, and then you mix the two after the other one is fully cooked, right?
100%.
That is one way to do it. You can make 50% more of the batch, right? So a little bit more noodles, more chicken stock, some vegetables. Then you can add that back to it. Now, is that an ideal solution? No. You know what the ideal solution is? If you're in a restaurant, if you're a cook, you start the fuck over. You start the fuck over. And
especially if you had the ingredients, like if you have the ingredients, just start over.
Yes, because this is not going to give you the solution. This is a hack that doesn't make any sense to me, right? Like if you said, oh, I'm going to add more pasta and more chicken stock. Okay, maybe, but it's, this is so subjective. Yeah, go ahead.
I would love to, for you guys to take this a step further and see if you guys can get Kenji Lopez on here.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
That would be sick. Yeah, since he's so scientifically based that you guys can actually go over to the video and be like, hey, does this bullshit work? Because that's like your typical grandma knowledge. Hey, if you add too much salt, throw a potato in there. I've heard it so many times in my life.
Yeah,
and
but do you think?
And I'm not going to be ashamed to say I've tried it and it did not work.
Yeah,
You know?
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't.
So
And like the thing is the whole thing is trash after you cook that potato. You
if
know what
you
I'm
if you
saying?
don't
Because,
want starch in your if you don't want a starchy soup, that's like if you add potato to it, then you add starch to it too.
yeah,
So it's like
but it's funny because this is just an example of something that like I think is kind of crossing the line. It's none of my business. I don't know if he's who this is geared toward, or but this is not the only video I see like that where he does this shit. Like, oh, you want a better burger? Just throw oil on the grill and let it flame up. I don't know what the fuck. I'm just saying, like, I don't agree with that because here's
man,
the
I'm telling you, man, if you say that flame up burger thing to Kenji, if you guys can
yeah,
get him on here, he will go off on a tangent because he loves a good burger and he talks
yeah.
about a lot of the science
You know what?
behind creating
I gotta reach out to him. I know
burger.
he lives in the Bay Area. I'm gonna DM him, see, because I know he's in the Bay Area. But the thing is I think you're 100% right. I love Kenji Lopez. I love his book. I love everything that he does is amazing. And yeah, that was great. But
I
that was
love
just
the
a good
science base, man.
yeah, because then you can't deny science, man.
Yeah,
You can't deny it.
exactly.
It's either
Do you
fact or
guys
not.
do you guys feel like he's just doing it like the tasty people are doing it though, to garnish views, essentially? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I think
like the
so. I think a lot of
kitchen
people get in the
hacks,
space just for
blah
views.
blah blah. Let's do it this way, and then I think that video was like what 100K or some shit without him trying.
Well,
So
I wonder what the comments say. I wonder what the comments say.
I
But you know what? It's fine.
already
Okay, we got
unpulled it
we got to
out.
wrap it up, man. We're getting off on the tangent. But I just wanted to use that example, like of okay, like this is something that would irk me as a professional chef, right? Other than that, we don't really care. Like, I can say like we really don't care. Like,
It's like
about
don't
anything
teach
else.
the technique, teach the recipe.
Yeah.
Like
The thing is like what really makes me mad is like there was somebody that came to work with me, and then I'll end on this. I promise, Casey. Don't worry. I will end on this. Somebody came, they seen me on TikTok, they wanted to work with me. I had an event, and to make a long story short, I'm like, hey, do you know how to make risotto? Great. And then I look over and he's rinsing the rice in the sink, the risotto rice. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, why are you doing that? What? I'm like, wait, hold on. What's going on here? And then he's like, well, I don't know. That's what they say on TikTok. Rinse the rice. And I'm like, yeah, but this is risotto rice, man. You don't rinse risotto rice. Risotto, you want that starch. And I'm like, okay, let me explain this to you. But guess what? He didn't get the fucking job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
oh
Because
man.
because he listened to what people. And so that's why I try to tell people, like, if you're gonna train on the internet, like, just make sure you get your information from somebody credible. Now, that doesn't mean that a creator can't say, hey, this is my twist on ramen noodles. Hey, this is my twist on blah. You know what I'm saying? Who cares about that? I'm just saying when it comes to the younger generation of chef and the next generation of cooks, it's very important for me to try to make sure that I lead them to the promised land and that they don't get any misinformation. And the reason is because I worked at a diner from age 14 to 16, I would say. And I learned so many bad habits and so many bad techniques, but nobody would teach me the right way. And I would ask so many questions. And guess what? I had to learn the hard way. When I worked in a fine dining restaurant where the chef was like, why are you wiping shit on the floor? Like I would, so in the kitchen before, I learned just to, wipe the stuff off the cutting board onto the floor, and then we would sweep it up. And little did I know, this is true. No, that is not the right way to do things. And I'm like, fuck, I didn't know this. And then he's like, yeah, who taught you this? And he's like, I want you to take everything you learned from that dumbass fucking restaurant and throw it in the garbage. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, yes, chef. And he's like, yeah, this is how you clean this. This is how you wash lettuce. This is how you make this sauce. This is how you do this. And so it's very important for
At least he was able. At least he was willing to teach.
Yes, he was. And I'm not gonna lie, he went to CIA. He went to CIA, but he was a real chef. He was a real chef. He was a real chef in the restaurant. It wasn't, wasn't any other type of environment. But the problem is that diner food is short order cooking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there was one thing that I learned as a short order cook that he pretty much lost his fucking mind on me. So we had, so in the diner, so get this. And then I swear, Casey, I'm done. We had a side of chicken wings. I know, but Casey is the air traffic controller. You know what I mean? He's like, he's the podcast king. So we had the chicken wings were portioned 10 wings in one bag, in a plastic bag. And what the cooks used to do is they would dip the tip of the plastic bag into the fryer to melt it, and then the chicken wings would fall out into the fryer.
Oh, get the fuck. What?
Yeah. Yeah, my G. I thought it was normal.
Oh man.
I thought it was normal. So here I am, drop an order of wings, and I would take the tip of the bag, put it in the fryer, and then the wings would fall out. And I thought it was kind of cool. I didn't understand the reason why. I didn't know that, okay, you're melting plastic into the food. Like, and I did this because we had a chicken wing special, and they were pre-portioned in portion bags. And the bag didn't have a zip. It didn't have a tie or anything on it. You just, anyway, I did this. And the chef came over and fucking, he lost his goddamn mind.
I would have lost my mind.
And then I was like, Chef, I'm sorry, this is the way I was taught. And he's like, who taught you this? And he's looking around. He's like, who the fuck taught Brandon how to do this? Who taught him how to do this? I want to know now. Who taught you? And I'm like, well, at the last restaurant I worked. And then he lost it. And then he like grabbed me and he said, listen, you are going to have a horrible career if you don't learn how to do things right. He's like, you need to do things the right way. If you don't know, you need to fucking ask. And then I'm like, dude, why didn't anybody else do this for me? Why did, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would much rather explain something in my video and show people the correct way or the right way to do it and get some flack of people telling me like, hey, you're gatekeeping, or why are you so aggressive? I would much rather do that than not say anything at all. And then people like get hammered.
I don't think it's gatekeeping, man. I think people just need to stop taking TikTok videos at face value, and start cross-referencing shit like a person with some fucking sense would. Like you can't just sit there and take everything at face value, man. Like, someone has raised you very naive, man. Like,
dude, I know, man. It's crazy. Anyway, well, I guess we'll wrap it up. Yo, I had such a blast, man. I love the podcast, man. This is amazing. I don't know about you guys, but this was an invigorating conversation.
I appreciate you guys having me on here, man. This is great.
Yeah. It's dope.
Go ahead, Casey, wrap it up for us, I'll make sure to have all your links down below so people can find you. Absolutely follow Raph on everywhere. Specifically on YouTube, though, you'll find more of his stuff on it. But also all the TikTok stuff, I'll make sure everything is down on the links. Other than that, though, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And we'll have you on another one.